begin with the master with part 24 of Fossil Fighters. Let's get to it. If you remember, last episode, we beat the BB Bandits again and took over Vivisaur Island. And now it is time for level up battles, so we will be going and doing our final level up battle. So when we get to the fighter area, there's fireworks going off, like usual, and a notification that says the level up battles are about to begin. So we're going to have to make our way to the Fossil Stadium. So we'll say yes to taking the level up battle. So first we have to take our cleaning test. So to pass, we have to clean the fossil rock at least 80 points. So we just passed our 80 points that we need. So now we're just going to clean for fun now. So we just passed our cleaning test. So now we have to go do our fossil battle part of the test. So Tiffany says that we must win, that we'll have 2 preliminary battles and the level up master, but we must win our battles flawlessly. So that means you'll lose even if one of your Vivisaurs is defeated. So if Corona, Shoney, or Elasmo die, we will lose, even if we still have 2 Vivisaurs left. So we're going to put Ventnor back onto our team since Ignisaurus faded away, so that spot is empty. And swap Ventnor for Shoney, so Shoney's in the AZ. So now we're going to start our first level up battle. And it's against Wesley. And he says, I heard you're a force to be reckoned with, Master, but I'm no slouch either. I'll show you how good I am. Let's fight. And Wesley will be using a Corona, a Delta, and a Kendro. So Wesley attacks first with only 508 LP. And Corona uses Corona Bite against Shoney, which does 54 damage. and Spike Tail, which does 15 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does 64 damage against Corona. And then Corona uses Corona Bite against Shoni. And then Kendra uses Spike Tail, which does 15 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite again. And it does 66 damage. Now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle. And it does 62 damage. So then Corona uses Snapping Jaws against Elasmo. And it does 71 damage. So we're going to use Corona Bite against Corona. And it does a critical 101 damage. So if you're getting confused on which Corona was attacking, now there's only one left and it is our Corona. So now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle against Kendra. And it does 48 damage. Then Kendra uses Wind Spines against Corona, and it does 36 damage. And since Corona is in the SZ, it cannot confuse. So then Corona Bite does 51 damage. Now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, which should hopefully defeat Kendra. And it does. So then Delta uses Delta Blitz against Corona. And it does 26 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does 74 damage. And now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, which does 73 damage, and it defeats Delta, and we won our first preliminary battle. And we got 6 battle points. And Corona ranked up to a rank 10. So his LP increased by 9, attack increased by 10, defense increased by 3, and accuracy increased by 1. Shoni's LP increased by 10. Elasmo's LP increased by 8. Spinax's LP increased by 7, along with Ventnor's. So now we have to do our second preliminary battle. So now we're going to do our second preliminary battle, and this one is against Mr. Ozlowit. And he says, "Huff, huff, huff. You may have youth on your side, whippersnapper, but age and wisdom count too. I've been a fossil fighter before you were born. You better be ready to take the full brunt of decades of fossil fighting experience. 'Cause I've got a full tank of grandpa gas and my foot is on the battle pedal." So he is using an Amargo, a Lambio, and a Stygie. These are all fire Vivosaurs. We are using all water Vivosaurs. So we have an elemental advantage with all of our Vivosaurs against all of Mr. Ozlowit's Vivosaurs. So Mr. Ozlowit goes first and saves up his FP. So we're going to use Corona Bite against Amargo. And it does 120 damage. So then Lambio uses his team skill, which is Healing Hand. So Amargo recovers 100 LP, and then the other two can't recover any LP because they never lost any. So we're So we used Corona Bite and it did 116 damage. And now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, which does a critical 141 damage and defeats Imargo. So now Lambio's healing skill is useless because it's a team skill, and without all three Vivisaurs, it cannot be used. So Stygie uses Fiendish Missile, which does 17 damage. So we're going to use Corona Bite now. And it does 116 damage and defeats Stygie. So we're going to use Elasmo Tackle now, which does 95 damage. So then Lambio uses Sliding Ram, which does 41 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, and it should hopefully finish off Lambio. And it does. So we beat our second preliminary battlist. So now we can face the level up master. And Shoney's LP increased by 10. Corona's LP increased by 9. Elasmo's increased by 7. Along with Spinaxes and Ventners. So now we have to face Sorehead, who is the level up master, and he never loses. So we have to really pull together to defeat Sorehead. So again, we can't lose even a single Vivisaur. And I forgot to remind you, now that the lava is off on Mount Lava Flow, there are a lot more Vivisaurs now waiting to be discovered. So Sorehead says, I'm going to rewrite your dictionary with a new definition of pain. You done really good to get this far, Master, but you won't get past me. Beating me would make you a master fighter. Losing to me makes you everyone else. Because there's nobody stronger than Sorehead. Alright, let's do this thing. So Sorehead is using Guan, which has a transformation skill to transform into a T-Rex, Pelto, and Pachyrhino. So Sorehead attacks first and uses Earth Spear, which has a sleep skill with it, but since Corona is not in the AZ, it does not do anything effective. So then Corona will use Corona Bite. And then Pelto uses Earth Spear against Elasmo, which does 60 damage. Then we're going to use Corona Bite against Pelto, which does a critical 88 damage. So now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, which should hopefully defeat Pelto. Which does 45 damage and defeats Pelto. So, Pachyrhino swaps out for Guan and uses Pachyrhino Fury, which does 70 damage and enrages Shoney. Which it does not matter to us since we will not be using Shoney. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does a critical 113 damage. Now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, and it defeats Pachyrhino. So then, Guan uses Guanlong Fury, and it does 40 damage. So now we're going to use Corona Bite, which does 127 damage. So now we're going to use Elasmo Tackle, and it should hopefully defeat Guan. And it does. So we beat Sorehead and just became a master fighter. So Shoney just ranked up to rank 11. And his LP increased by 13, attack increased by 11, and defense increased by 3. And Ventnor ranked up to rank 10. And his LP increased by 10, attack increased by 8, defense increased by 4, and accuracy and evasion increased by 1. Corona's LP increased by 13, Elasmo's increased by 11, Spinax's increased by 10. So then the fanboy says, you must have cheated or something to beat Sorehead. Then the fighting fan says, yeah, cheater, you're a dirty cheating cheater. Then Sorehead comes and says, that's enough. Do you two think Sorehead can't spot a cheater in the ring? Oh, Sorehead, says the fanboy. And then Sorehead says, hey kid, that was a good battle. Sorehead hasn't smelled the old sock's odor of defeat in ages. Hear that? Sorehead smells old socks. So that was just a hard-fought battle? No cheating? No cheating, and a victory over me, Sorehead, means that you, kid, are now a master fighter. I hereby certify you, master, as a master fighter. So then Sorehead says, but don't get full of yourself just because you're a master fighter, kid. There are plenty of fighters out there with tough Vivisaurs. Never let your guard down. Like those Vivisaurs I used today, I raised those just for level up battles. I've got tougher ones too. You keep doing what you're doing, kid. Lots of digging and lots of fighting. Then Fanboy says, Sorehead didn't use his strongest Vivisaurs? Sheesh, he wasn't even taking the battle seriously. Just imagine how much Sorehead would flatten the competition with his real Vivisaurs. Then Rosie says, Master, you made Master Fighter? Congratulations. What, Sorehead didn't use his regular team of Vivisaurs for the level up battle? But he was still strong as ever? Well, I'm heading to my final battle now. I better reconsider my team. Anyway, thanks for the pro tip, Master. Okay, I can't put it off any longer. Time to become a Master Fighter too. Wish me luck. Bye. Now, what I don't get is everyone heads out that way, when really, if you're going to be doing your fight, you'd be heading that way. And then a letter fell down in front of us. And it says, there's something I want to talk to you about, Master. I'll wait for you in the park tonight. From Duna. And Duna says, thank you for coming, Master. I am unsure if I will ever see you again, so I wanted to make sure I was able to speak with you. As you have seen, I am not human. I am a Dinorian. I am from another world. You might think of us as dinosaur people. Living beings change over time. Over millions and millions of years, this is called evolution. You and I have followed different evolutionary paths and now are different creatures altogether. The Dinorians as a group have never thought well of humans. You have a long history of turning against each other, waging war and other such problems. I have always believed humans to be unable to respect one another, wanting nothing more than conflict. But you are different. Despite the fact that I am a Dinorian and I attacked you, you saved me from under that boulder. May I ask you one thing? If there were a war between humans and Dinorians, if I were your enemy, would you still have saved me, Master? And then we responded, yes, and then Duna says, really? Even as an enemy, you would have saved me? Your answer inspires me a strange feeling in me. It is hard to describe. I suppose it is happiness. I never thought I would say this to a human, but I think I like you. It saddens me that I will not be able to see you again, but this is something that cannot be changed. There's nothing that can be done about it. If I could change the past and have you evolve into a Dinorian like me, if that were possible, we would be really close friends. Goodbye, Master. Smooch. So the game asks us to save, and like always, we will save. And with that, we will conclude today's episode of Fossil Fighters Part 24. Join us next time for Fossil Fighters Part 25, where we discover what we have to do now in Chapter 7.